The Wars of the Roses were a series of conflicts that gripped England during the 15th century, rooted in a dynastic struggle between two rival branches of the royal house of Plantagenet: the House of Lancaster, symbolized by a red rose, and the House of York, symbolized by a white rose. Originating from disputes over claims to the English throne, these wars were driven by power, loyalty, and ambition, with far-reaching consequences for the kingdom. The significance of understanding the context of the Wars of the Roses when examining the Battle of Towton in 1461 is crucial, as it sets the stage for why this battle was so fiercely contested and why its outcome was pivotal in shaping English history. The Battle of Towton, often described as the bloodiest battle of the Wars of the Roses, was a turning point that highlighted the magnitude and brutality of the conflict. Approximately 50,000 soldiers clashed on a snowy Palm Sunday, leading to significant casualties. This battle exemplified the extreme lengths to which both houses would go to secure the throne, reflecting the desperation and volatility of the era. One of the real-world applications of understanding this context is recognizing how these dynastic struggles led to societal changes. For instance, the Wars of the Roses played a part in weakening the medieval feudal system, as the constant warfare led to the rise of professional armies and mercenaries, reducing the power of the nobility over time. Another example is the impact on the English monarchy itself. The resolution of the Wars of the Roses set the stage for the emergence of the Tudor dynasty, which would reignite issues of succession and governance in new ways, ultimately reshaping the political landscape of England. Scholars and historians often support the viewpoint that examining these wars provides critical insight into the evolution of English political structures and the shifting power dynamics within the monarchy. However, there are challenges in fully understanding the Wars of the Roses due to limited contemporary sources and biased historical accounts. Alternative viewpoints suggest examining these wars through lenses other than just dynastic struggles, such as the socio-economic factors at play or the role of key individuals whose personal ambitions influenced events. Understanding the context of the Wars of the Roses also influences how we perceive interactions between nobility and commoners, revealing the complex nature of loyalty and service during this turbulent period. It helps us appreciate the pressures and motivations driving those who fought at Towton, making it a foundational element for analyzing the significance of the battle and its enduring impact on English history. The prelude to Towton, focusing on the political and military buildup, is a crucial component of understanding the Battle of Towton, as it sets the stage for what would become the bloodiest encounter in the Wars of the Roses. This concept refers to the sequence of political maneuvers and military preparations that escalated tensions between the rival factions of Lancaster and York, ultimately culminating in the confrontation at Towton on March 29, 1461. The significance of this buildup lies in its role as the catalyst for war on such an unprecedented scale, revealing the deep-seated rivalries and stakes that each side held. Initially, this prelude was characterized by a series of shifting allegiances and calculated power plays. The unstable rule of Henry VI and the influence of Queen Margaret of Anjou heightened discontent among nobles, who rallied behind the more militarily adept and politically astute Duke of York. This division set the stage for a full-scale conflict. An example of these tensions is the Battle of St. Albans in 1455, where the Yorkists defeated Lancastrians, marking the violent reawakening of rivalries. Additionally, the Act of Accord in 1460, which disinherited Henry's son in favor of Richard, Duke of York, further exacerbated hostilities by directly threatening the Lancastrian claim to the throne. The importance of understanding this buildup is reinforced by opinions suggesting that the ensuing violence and massive scale of Towton were reflective not only of royal enmity, but also of a broader societal will to resolve the dynastic dispute once and for all. However, this interpretation is subject to debate. Some historians argue that while leadership held prominence, the genuine motivations of the soldiers and local lords may have been more complex, motivated by feudal allegiances and immediate land disputes, rather than grand political ideals. Challenges in analyzing this prelude involve discerning the intricate web of loyalties and blaming single events or figures for the conflict's escalation. It's also controversial to determine the extent to which individual ambitions or structural weaknesses within the kingdom dictated the path to war. Regardless of differing perspectives, the political and military buildup set the tone for how subsequent battles in the Wars of the Roses would unfold. The animosities and strategic decisions made during this period heavily influenced the nature of medieval English conflict, demonstrating how political machinations and martial readiness combined to produce historic outcomes at battles like Towton. This anticipation of bloodshed serves as a lens through which to understand the broader themes of power struggle, loyalty, and the merciless nature of civil war. Strategic movements and army composition play a pivotal role in understanding the Battle of Towton in 1461, often cited as the bloodiest battle of the Wars of the Roses. This concept encompasses the decisions and arrangements made by military leaders regarding the placement, movement, and structure of their forces. Strategic movements refer to the tactical maneuvers of troops before and during the battle, while army composition relates to the makeup of the forces, including the number of soldiers, types of units, and the balance between infantry, archers, and cavalry. These factors were crucial at Towton, as the outcome significantly influenced the power dynamics in England. Henry VI's Lancastrian forces faced Edward IV's Yorkists, in a battle not only defined by sheer numbers, but also by how these forces were maneuvered and composed. The Yorkist army, for example, benefited from strategic placements and the advantageous use of terrain, coupled with a reliance on archers whose longbow tactics proved decisively effective in the snowy conditions. A quintessential example of strategic movement during Towton was the pre-battle night march by the Yorkist forces, which allowed them to surprise and outmaneuver the Lancastrians at dawn. Additionally, the Yorkist use of retractable formations to adapt to the Lancastrian advance illustrated a sophisticated understanding of tactical flexibility. Scholars often emphasize the crucial nature of these strategic movements and compositions, asserting that they were as decisive as the size of the armies. Some historians argue that the Yorkist victory was initially against the odds, achieved predominantly through superior strategic planning and execution. However, debates and controversies exist surrounding these strategies. Some historians question whether the Lancastrians could have adjusted tactics more effectively, or if internal divisions weakened their strategic coherence. Others view the unpredictable weather and terrain as having had an even greater impact than military strategy alone. Strategic movements and army composition connect profoundly with other aspects of the battle, such as leadership and morale. The commander's ability to motivate and direct their troops amidst chaotic conditions underscore the integration of strategy with leadership. This interplay not only determined the battle's immediate outcomes, but also shifted the momentum of the Wars of the Roses, ultimately influencing the political landscape of England. Understanding Towton through this lens provides deeper insights into the complexity and dynamics of medieval warfare. Battlefield tactics and key engagements are central to understanding the historical significance and impact of the Battle of Towton, which occurred on March 29, 1461, during the Wars of the Roses. This battle was a pivotal moment in English history, known for its size, ferocity, and the consequential shift in power dynamics. Battlefield tactics refer to the strategies and maneuvers employed by military leaders to gain a favorable outcome during combat. At Towton, tactics played a crucial role in determining the battle's outcome and, subsequently, the course of English history. The significance of the battlefield tactics at Towton cannot be overstated. The battle saw the largest number of troops deployed during the Wars of the Roses, with estimates of around 50,000 soldiers. The tactics employed would determine not only the victor of this bloody encounter, but also influence the political landscape of England for decades. Two specific examples showcase the importance of tactics on that fateful day. Firstly, the Lancastrian forces, commanded by the Duke of Somerset and the Earl of Northumberland, aimed to maintain their defensive position on higher ground, forcing the Yorkist forces to approach through the snow and sleet, thereby exhausting them. However, the Yorkists, led by Edward IV and the Earl of Warwick, utilized the wind and snow to their advantage. Blowing snow towards the Lancastrians reduced visibility, allowing Yorkist archers to fire volleys without fear of accurate return fire. Another tactical maneuver was the surprise flank attack executed by the Yorkist forces. As the battle raged on, a contingent of fresh troops led by the Duke of Norfolk arrived on the battlefield, striking the Lancastrians from the flank. This unexpected support significantly demoralized the Lancastrian troops, leading to a collapse in their lines and a decisive victory for Edward IV. While these tactics led to a Yorkist triumph, they underscore the brutality and high casualties of medieval warfare, estimated between 20,000 and 28,000, highlighting the devastating human cost. There are alternative viewpoints regarding the effectiveness of these maneuvers, with some historians suggesting environmental factors such as weather played a more significant role than strategic brilliance. Ultimately, the battlefield tactics at Towton not only decided the outcome of a single bloody day, but also solidified Edward IV's claim to the throne, shaping the future trajectory of the Wars of the Roses. It influences how we understand military strategy's role in historical events, and underscores the delicate balance between tactical innovation and the harsh realities of war. Through exploring these components, we gain deeper insight into the factors that shaped a critical moment in English history.